Hello, welcome back. I've got a bit of a confession. On the last episode I created that traverser and it was fine, but it wasn't perfect. So I took it all apart and I rebuilt it, taken me quite a while. I wasn't totally happy with it, so that was the reason why. And I'm going to show you just exactly what I've done on that before I go into what's going to go into this episode. So bear with me. Here you can see it looks very, very similar. I've still got all the wiring yet to do. Glue's still drying. It's just so cold in the conservatory. I put the heating on to try and warm up again. But you can see I've made it for 3 tracks at the moment. And I've sort of I've had to change every single piece. So I've rebuilt the whole frame. So I'll go through that. And you'll notice I put the runners actually on the sides. So it is more like a draw now. But because I've done that, the whole chassis had got flex because I'd got struts in going across. So, and now I've had to put extra corner supports in. So you can see all the corners that I've had to put in, and I've done those all the way around. And obviously I want to do it as a 3-track, so I'm going to do it so it stops. So I'm going to put like a stop just on the edge here. So that then lines up that track, and then I can just move it over and it will get to its end stop for that track. And that gives me, if it's on its end stop, it's about the maximum it could be away from a wall. But that's about, if you're having it on a shelf layout, it would just work on these 2 without any issue. And really I've only got enough rolling stock for the 2. So I've just added an extra 3rd one in case I wanted it. But I could have made it a 4-track and so I could have come all the way out and had an extra one in and then repositioned these slightly differently, so give me enough room for 4. So if I want to change it in the future I can do, but I'm just going to leave it like that. And I apologise if you try to copy that. It will work, but it's not the greatest, and so I spent a few days working on this to try and work out a better way of doing it. And these draw runners aren't exactly the highest quality draw runners, so but I think they'll do the job and they will last. And back to this week's video, what I want to try and do. And what I wanted to do was a lot more. But it's already halfway through the week. And normally I've started the video Sunday, Monday, and it's actually Wednesday now. And I'm not sure if I'm going to get a great deal done this week now because of that. But I did want to do some ballasting. And I bought this. This is the Gauge Master ballast. And I'll let you have a close-up look of that, and you'll see the problem that I've got with that. But let's have a look at everything else that I've got first. I did get some grass texture. You've probably noticed that I've already started to use that on the layout, and I've got some plum foliage and some lichen. They were from Milk Models in Ilkeston. I've got some. Before I could do the ballasting, I needed to sort out some point levers, because this is obviously a little seam. It's not going to have electric points or anything like that, so I've got these 3D printed, and they're just gonna, I just need to fit the point lever in position. I was hoping that I could just get this to move, so when the point switched over it would flip this over, you know, sort of thing, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I may have another go at something like that in the future, but I don't think I'm capable of doing that at the moment. So But I do need to paint this up before I install it. But I needed to get this on the layout before I start doing the ballasting. And what I do have as well is some buffer stops. So they're quite important. I got a Land Rover for the front of the seam. It's one of the vehicles that I've decided to purchase. Thought that would look quite good. For the dock seam, I bought the Pico O-gauge crane. That looks really good. It looks quite big though. I'm not sure I've got enough space on the dock to have the base all on there. So I'll have to have a look on how I can sort of kit bash that a little bit. And some cheap, well, I don't think it's that cheap, but it's glue rather than super glue, because super glue is great at gluing my fingers together. And then I got this Dapol signal, and this is a BR ground signal, and I've had this for a few weeks because I've been trying it. I bought it before I started doing the traverse, and I've been trying to get the traverse done so I can get that piece ballasted. So I need to get this working, and I want to have this motorised. So, and I'm not sure how it all works or anything like that, but I always tend to use sort of dummy ground signals, and this time I decided to buy one that actually lights up, and it's quite expensive. So I just hope it does what I want it to do. And that's that for that box. But then let's talk about, let me just drop those back in that box for a second. I talk about the elephant in the room, I think, which is ballast. And this says it's O-gauge ballast. So let me show you that really up close. And you'll see what I mean. It's huge. Got big chunky pieces of ballast. I just don't think that's realistic enough. So it'll be like having massive boulders. So I decided to change how I was going to do it, and I bought the Woodland Sea Mix. Normally the Woodland Sea Mix is really expensive. I bought this from the model shop, and this was actually quite a good price actually. I would have got it from Melk's Models, but it was just a lot easier to order online. So sorry Melk. But I bought the coarse in light and the coarse in grey, and also some medium grey blend. So this was normal double O sort of size, and the coarse I would say is more O-gauge size, and it's a lot finer than that. Those would look like a boulder about this big. Ballast is only about that big. So I'm just going to mix a couple of blends of them. I did get 2 of these because it was quite really cheap, and I thought it would be great for me my next O-gauge layout. So I'm going to mix some of this with these, forget that one, and then get the ballast in. So that's my next job then. Now I'm not just going to ballast the main board, I'm going to ballast this small piece on the fiddle yard. And obviously that sticks out like a sore thumb with those. So I'm going to give those a spray with some brown. I want to get that I might have to just hand paint some of those in a little bit more as well. So I've had a quick look at this because I wanted to just see the size, but I thought, oh, I can't do that until I've done another job. So you get quite a big hole I need to drill there. And there's this Servo unit. Obviously that's going to get into there, the yellow to the yellow. So, and some instructions. So I'm just going to have a quick look at these before I plug everything in. So you get so it tells you here, this is your O gauge, and then you look on the back of this one and you go, that looks nothing like that. So because the switch goes on the side, that one goes on the back. So it's out of date already, these instructions, or this is an older servo unit and they're using a newer one, but it's quite straightforward, I think. So you just got the switch, it's got a connector on it, anywhere between 9 and 15 volts it says, VAC or DC, so that's useful. So let's just get this stuck on. Right, very short cable, so I'm going to have to extend those wires. Why can't they just give you a connector and then a load of cable? Because like nobody's control box is that close to their switch, so put that in there. Nice positive clip there. So I've got 9-volt battery. Let's see if this works. So positive to positive was a good start. And we get I'll zoom in a little closer on that. Let me just connect this back up. That works quite nice. It's a lot quicker one direction than the other. That's about the speed it, should be. So yeah, that seems to work quite nice. You get nice the green LED and the red. So hope that's coming out in this light. But that should be quite nice on the layout. Now I've got to work out where to put this box underneath. That's the ground signal. I've just drilled the hole. So that was a 15mm hole needed. So I'm going to put it in there. So it's facing left-hand view as that track comes down there, out of the siding. And what I have done, oops, let's just see if you can see that. Yeah, it's a little bit dark, I apologise, but I've got straight through my bus. I always end up doing that, put these bus wires in and end up drilling through them, so I'm going to have to move that bus around there before I install the control box. So that's it fitted in. I've not got the wiring fully wired yet because I need to wire this from the point, work out how to do that, but this is how it looks. So So I might do a little bit of a trim on that pot just to see how that works. Yeah, so that's sort of the driver's eye view, how you would see it. Right, I've got my ballast mix, as you can see, got a nice blend there, so lots of different sizes. So I've used the coarse and the medium, and that would have been the one that I was going to use, and you see the size of those, I think it would have just looked overscale. So I'm glad I've sort of decided to go down this route. I'm not going to do a video really on ballasting, but as there's plenty out there, and I've done it that many times, I decided to put a piece of masking tape on there, just to give me a straight line, and just where the track joins I just put some tape on there, so when you put the ballast in, it doesn't all fall through, and it should give you a nice sharp edge between the boards. That's the plan. And I just need to glue in my dummy point motor before manual point lever, I should say. Right, come back when all this is done. That looks all about right. So, still got quite a bit left. Actually, I didn't think I would have as much as that. I don't know the grass texture, not to worry. I brushed it all off the sleepers, and then I spot a little bit more. I've covered the ground signal base because I was having a look online, see how that should look, and I've also made sure my point is moving nice and free, and there's no ballast just inside this section there where the spring is, and all the point movement. So I think I'm good to go. I've mixed up a bit of washing up liquid and water, ready to get it all sprayed. I always like to give it a really good soak. I think that's enough. Now I've just got my 50-50 mix. There's still some ballast on the sleeper there. So, right. This could take a little bit of time. And I'm just going to get all this done. Right, that's all the ballast, all soaked in PVA glue. Now it's just a waiting game. That's going to take a good 24 hours. So I'm not going to be able to do anything until really tomorrow night now. So come back then. Okay, all that ballast is now all dry. It's actually about 3 days since I did that. I've done a few other things. As you can notice, I've decided to move the point lever from this side to that side, so it's accessed via this bit of a road. Put this road in, I put my fence in, I put a bit more grass texture in there. I've had a few of the small jobs that I've been working on, but nothing major at the moment. But now it's time to get some weathering on this ballast. So I'm just using my railway fast method and my airbrush for this. And I've built these two factory buildings, so I just need to drill the holes for the wiring and get these mounted on. So I think they look much better than the building I had before. So okay, and there we have virtually how I sort of envision the scene. So I do need to get a more period van there that's going to be loading up. I've got space for just enough for 2 locos and a little bit of rolling stock. Ground signals in place. I do need to get that wired in now. Just put the backboards in temporary so you can sort of see how the enclosed space will look, and if you look through the opening, the scene carries on a little bit where the ballast is in the grass. So before you get to the traverser, and it's just sort of to hide that little bit of funny type sleepers where I've made them out of that metal and the copper clad PCB boards. But there we go. I mean, I've still got a lot more to do. The glue's still drying, fixing the buildings down. I've got these backdrops. This is only sort of a temporary colour at the moment. That's just a quick coat of magnolia just to seal it in. But a lot more work to go. But it's starting to look how I sort of envisioned it in my mind 6 weeks ago. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and hopefully I'll see you again. Have a nice evening or a good rest of the day, and take care.